There's no Mike here this morning. He's a little ill, so there was nobody to interrupt. So I had to start off with the bark myself. You guys, we are live. Welcome to the Bearded Browns podcast. I am Gary Fair. I'm here with Sam LaCavera and Logan Bruce. You guys, welcome to the Bearded Browns. How are you this morning?
Great. Went out. It's over 30 degrees in Cleveland. It's a good day.
It is. It is a great day. First, before we get going, we want to shout out our awesome sponsors. We have Doug White Allstate. I want to shout out Lego Heads Barber Shop and Saloon out there in Berea. We've got the Bearded Bastards barbecue sauce. So as the weather is breaking here, you're going out to barbecue, make sure you put that stuff on your chicken and your ribs. And we also have the Cleveland ketchup. They have Cleveland ketchup and mustard and mayo and lots of good stuff there. And man, for a sport that's in an off season, there never stops being news here, especially with the Cleveland Browns, does there?
No, never. There's always something going down or going. There's always something going on.
There's always something going on.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's good. I'm glad that we're starting to get in, combine. I was never really big into it. I would watch it, but, joining the show in 23, you start paying more attention to stuff coming up because, I would just wait for the draft, the draft get here and then we'll start talking this or that. But it's nice to actually see who's what's what, some of their backgrounds, not just football. Some of them come from a good lineage of football player fathers and things like that, which are interesting to me, not just, running and jumping. And so there's a lot of other things involved in it. But, we're going to get into some of that today. So
for sure. But before we get into that, though, last couple of years, they've been making public the NFLPA, these report cards, which are pretty interesting. And this year actually is the last year that they are going to be allowed to make these public because the NFL has won a grievance against the Players Association a little earlier this month. These are no longer going to be allowed to be made public by the Players Association. As you were saying before we got on the show, Sam, I'm sure these are going to get leaked.
Yeah.
But the players throughout the year have been sending in grades, their own ratings for the teams that they play for. And, they're rating everything from the food that these teams provide them to, the fields that they play on, their coaches, how they treat their families. And first things first is the Browns are not in last place in the NFL.
No,
they're not in last.
Can anybody guess? Can anybody guess who got that? Doesn't surprise me none.
They're not in last place in the NFC North.
The AFC North.
Yeah.
Definitely not in the AFC North. Definitely not at the bottom of the barrel all the way around either.
Logan, can you guess who's at the bottom of the AFC North?
Is this for which criteria are we looking at, or the whole thing?
For the whole thing.
I mean, I would like to say the Bengals, but my heart also wants to say Pittsburgh.
Bing, bing.
Your heart, follow your heart.
Yeah. Pittsburgh.
The Pukesburg Squealers ended up as ranked number 32 in all of the NFL. So, we talk about here. Say that again?
That's with their head coaches in A, which we'll talk about.
That's with the head coaches in A and special teams coordinator at A-. So, they rank everything from treatment of families, home field, food and dining area, right? All of these different things. They are at 32.
F-.
Worst in the NFL.
Locker room F-. Like, what happened? I don't even want to know what happens in the Steelers locker room if it's a F-.
Well, isn't Heinz Field kind of a newer? Maybe I'm old where I feel like these stadiums are new when they're not new anymore.
New when it was built in 1982 or something.
Yeah, for sure. These are 30, 40-year-old stadiums, and I just feel like they're new. But I feel like Heinz Field is like new, right?
I think so, because what was it? Three Rivers was the. I mean, it's got, I guess, in the '90s at least, which technically our stadium's getting torn down, and I would still say that it's new.
Yeah, I mean, 30 years old, right? I mean, it's got to be
Yeah.
at an age where how does that get an F?
It's like I
An
wonder
F
how much
minus.
just when something is bad, and we'll talk about the Browns here shortly, but like I don't know, like when the head coach is an A and there's just all that drama all year long surrounding Tomlin's future and all that, that it just makes everything else seem awful. Like just like the morale had to be horrible.
So do you think that's morale, or do you think it's the actual physical lockers in the locker room? Like, is it just like?
I don't know.
I'll touch on the stadium thing because, it's one thing, it's upkeep. So I would think that if you're getting a grade, your home field's a F minus. You can't go no lower than that. It's got to be a maintenance thing. So,
Yeah,
you
Were
got to
injuries?
keep up. You got to keep up with stuff, and our current stadium right now, I was downtown. It's sad because you look at the east side of the building, it's got rust pouring down the side of it. Those are factors for me, you know, paint it, it's upkeep, paint it. Nobody wants to, we already got it's, nicknamed the factory of sadness. So when I see that rust, it's like the stadium's crying too. You know what I'm saying? With the rust coming down,
Yeah.
but it's harsh up there on the lake, but it's maintenance. So I would think, their home field, Pittsburgh, it's probably not keeping up with maintenance. I mean, that's the only thing that would come to mind. What else could it be? It's probably has not been updated in any ways. Depending on how old the stadium is, I mean, you gotta keep up with stuff, especially that, the outside, outside of the building, inside of the building,
I tell you what, Cleveland Ketchup Field would not have that kind of rating.
right.
You
What I
know,
was gonna say is maybe a lot of the new Pittsburgh Steelers are more Cleveland ketchup or Hunt's ketchup guys.
yeah.
Just but I was like, so the home game field itself, that would like, because that is a hot topic everywhere. I'm assuming that means like the actual turf or whatever
Mhm.
like surface they're playing on. I'm wondering if there's been some like knee injuries and like non-contact injuries on their field, and they've like repeatedly called it out and nothing gets done to fix it.
Or if like maybe there's dandelions or something growing.
Yeah. Now I'm not talking about Minka Fitzpatrick diving at people's knees and ruining careers or anything, but just maybe I don't know. The locker room's a weird one though. Like, how bad does an NFL locker room have to be an F like that? We would probably walk into that locker room and it'd be one of the nicest things we've ever seen.
Oh, for sure.
TVs above every locker or whatever the hell it is, and
Well, especially too when it's like when you compare it to like what the Bengals have here. I mean, look, the Bengals have an A minus locker room, and the Bengals are notorious for like being cheap and not having good facilities. And then you go to the locker room here for the Ravens, and they have a B minus. Some of these ratings I just had I just wasn't ready for.
that's why I don't want to know like what the difference is between
Mm-hmm.
the Pittsburgh locker room and the Cincinnati locker room. Like if you took all the branding off, like if we could walk in there and tell you what the difference was,
For sure.
Right.
Is it like the difference, like the amount of PlayStations in there? Like what's
Yeah.
Right. Right.
what's the difference? Massage chairs? We should do that. We should somehow figure out get a tour of these locker rooms so we could let the people know what the difference is in these locker rooms and give our own ratings.
Yeah, we'll have to talk to Haslam and see if we can start with the Browns, do one of our episodes from the locker room.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the Browns, here's the Browns ratings. So the Browns locker room was an F.
Not an F minus though.
Not an F minus. So we do have a better locker room than the Steelers.
It really stood out for me, and it's first on the list, man. Treatment of families.
That's what I tell his wife.
Yeah. Well, can you go back to like the Bengals real quick?
Huh?
Okay. All right. Go to Ravens. Just want to see this. Okay. Go to Pittsburgh.
Great job, Gary, clicking through these, man.
So
Yeah.
the only
And
one
then-
that's
and then-
treating the families good are the Ravens.
Yeah. So I was like looking at that. It's like, wouldn't you? I mean, there's a lot going on and you got a lot of other things to worry about, but I would think family is a big thing because I know a lot of us always, whatever you're going through, and if you got to do something, it's always family comes first, so you would think that they would take care of, people's families a little bit better. I'm not
For
saying
sure.
roll out a red carpet, but like you said, I mean, that's another thing. So you go from an S to F, and then somebody's got an A. What those questions what are they actually doing? I would like to know that too. Like you said about the locker room.
Minus the Cowboys are. I'm just like, this might even be the wrong year, but like the Cowboys are an A. Atlanta was an A.
And it seems like some of this stuff here that they're getting Fs on are like low hanging fruit, especially for a team that is owned by a guy that sold his main business for $13 billion.
Right.
Like having a state of the art locker room, and then having food and dining. Like food and dining seems like one of those things that like you should be able to, like, it doesn't seem like it should take a lot to be highly rated there. I mean, hell, even the WWE with it, they do SmackDown and Raw on the road every week, and they serve crab legs. And their craft services, like most places get craft services down. I can't imagine how are you messing up, the food and dining area.
So I wonder if this turd like Haslam just did this, like if the home game field's good, but the locker room and all this other stuff, like if they're just not focusing on it because they're worried about in a few years, like are the stadium's decrepit, we can't possibly have a good locker room. This is why we need the new Brook Park Stadium.
That's a good point there, Logan. I mean, like, why would you dump monies into that if you already know? Well, they're already digging ground for the stadium, or the dome. So yeah. So I guess I can understand some of that, but like I said, treatment of families, man, I kind of looked at that.
Yeah, man. There's certain stuff here like treatment of families, team travel, food and dining area. These are things that like I feel like are low hanging fruit that you can do to keep the morale of your team up.
Absolutely.
No matter how the team is playing, or whatever it is, you can keep the overall morale of your organization up if you have those things A+. That's what an A+ organization does.
That's what I wonder, like what would have to go, like the treatment of families thing. I know, like I made the joke about Carly Teller, Wyatt's wife, like she made that comment once Stefanski got fired, like play stupid games, win stupid prizes, whatever it was. But that seems more like head coach related. Like what would the organization be doing that like turns these families off, like they're not allowed in to see the players before the game or something like that, like, or they don't give them, they have to pay for their seats even though they're player families. Like I wonder like what the difference is between this and then the Cowboys who are an A.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, I think part of it might be Cowboys facilities too. That stadium down there is incredible. So if Jerry Jones if he's bringing them in, they probably have a lot more suites down there. So maybe the families, they're not just being put out with the fans. Maybe they have like players' family suites down there. Whereas here, I think probably in Browns Stadium, there's really not,
Just gets thrown up on by some drunk guy in the
yeah. Carly Teller probably has been thrown up on, like you said,
So now that like food and dining, is that actually like training or at the training facility? Is that are they talking stadium? That's what I don't know. But I think that would be for the players. I would think food and dining. I would think because I think players grade some of this stuff here too.
Yeah, it's all players.
Yeah, this is players. The NFLPA, so I'm guessing it's like in Berea. Like, do they have good food and dining area? So that's what it probably is when these families get to the stadium, Jimmy's making them pay for their food.
That's we're like a D+. Is that ramen noodles, and then you go to like a C+, and then you're at Chunky Soups. I mean,
yeah.
Man, I miss those football commercials, like Donovan McNabb, Chunky Soup commercials, and
it had his mom on there and stuff.
Yeah,
those were pretty funny. But you think sustenance is important? You know, if these guys are out there training and you're burning off calories, you got to put calories back in. It's kind of how things work.
For sure.
But you would think, I mean, sustenance would be a big part to keep, like, even that's a morale thing, man.
It is.
You know, if you're ran down and then you're sitting there looking at, you know, whatever they're serving these guys, and they're probably, because they graded it, you know, they're probably like, man, this food sucks. I mean,
Now-
it's a D plus. This food sucks. I wish we had this. I wish we had that, you know.
Now, not to discredit these, right? But we're talking about all these different things. Now, the Players Association also is calling for an investigation into where the 49ers play, because it's right next to some sort of like power station. And they're saying that the effects of that power station is causing all of these crazy ligament injuries, right? And so the players who are asking for the investigation of this to possibly make them move the stadium gave the home game field an A-.
Yeah.
Which I thought was
leverage,
very interesting.
Like the NFLPA and the owners like rarely agree. It's kind of like with baseball that's coming up. Like anything you hear from the players, like about the salary cap, has to be negative. Anything you hear from the owners, like they have to argue on certain stuff. It's weird.
It is, but for the players that to give it an A- and then ask for it to be investigated is kind of
right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the players themselves, like the Niners players, seem fine with it, but then NFLPA, like somebody's whispering in their ear, like, but we can't just say everything's okay. We like let's complain about this.
Yeah, it's
super weird.
So I think you definitely got to take these for what it is as well. You know, take these with a grain of salt. You know, but like we were saying before, I don't know what do the Browns do.
And I think from last year's too that this report card is pretty much almost the same. I think it didn't change much in the same areas. A lot of the players, I mean, they've all said that Haslam, if you need something, he'll get it for you. So he will get you what you need. So like weight room type stuff, you know, they got, you know, the saunas. So you see where they got good, decent stuff, you know, weight rooms and stuff like that. But you got to go to Haslam and go, hey man, can we actually get some steak and potatoes up in here? You know what I mean? Sure. So,
but I think part of the good ownership though is not having to ask for it, is having it ahead of time. You know,
it should be already presented.
For sure. Cleveland already has a hard enough time getting people here, whether it's in the NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, and it has nothing to do with the people who live here. A lot of it has to do with the weather. People do not, you know, when you're making millions of dollars and you're making, even if you're not making millions, if you have 6-figure salary, it's a pretty good salary, you know, in this country. When you are making that kind of salary, you do not want to live through the winters that we live through here.
Yeah,
you know, especially if you didn't come up through it and you didn't grow up here, you do not want to live through that. And so you got to have, I'm sorry, but you have to give incentives. So you have to be better at these other things than these other teams. So your locker room, your food, your nutritionist, right? Your weight room, all of these things, you know, your ownership. These things need to be, if you're going to get ratings, and they have to be A's. If you're trying to build something.
Buffalo tracks, like it's almost like I would say winning cures everything outside of, I mean, Pittsburgh's report card wasn't the best, but like Buffalo, I don't know what their facilities and all that are, but they're a good football team. Like, so you take all this and throw in the fact that we win 4 or 5 games a year. It's like, well, why the hell? Outside of like getting grossly overpaid, why would you come here? Like Deshaun Watson's a perfect example.
Well, here's the thing too. I was going to touch on it when Gary was talking about the weather up here, and if you're not born and raised here, you already know how it goes. You know, you got a long winter, it's cold, then you have your like fake, false. We had it last week. We had a couple 50-degree days. You have your false spring. But Jameis Winston came to mind when we were talking weather, because Jameis Winston said, man, I was up in Ohio, man. It's really nice up there. You know how Jameis is. You know, he's a character. Really nice up there. It was really nice. I had a, pretty view. Where I think he was out in, I can't remember where he was actually staying at the time. But it was a suburb out there in Cleveland. East Cleveland, and he's like, "Yeah, it's really great, man. If you like weather, nice weather for like 2 months." That's what he said.
We have the nicest 2 months of weather, like during the fall.
Yeah, he's like, it's really nice up there for like 2 months.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, we got a player speaking his mind, and he's right. I'd say a little bit better than 2 months though, Jameis. But players listen to that type of stuff for sure, man. But Chicago's weather's not no good. Could you imagine we're living up in Green Bay or Wisconsin?
Yeah,
It's got to be cold.
Chicago's a bustling city, though.
Yeah,
Chicago has millions of people in there, and Chicago's is a different monster.
A massive city. Yeah.
It's
I would say Detroit is. I mean, that's a bigger city than Cleveland, but like kind of the same vibes. Like just kind of 1920s, it was killing it, and now it's just a little bit different, like Cleveland.
And I think it's going to be interesting in Pittsburgh now, especially when you go back and you look at their report card, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you see the rankings and you see what these players actually think of Pittsburgh and the organization. And now that Mike Tomlin is gone, Mike Tomlin was the draw there. And, before that, it was the stability. The Steelers were the Steelers. And it seems as though, that shine is gone off of that organization if you're looking at these ratings. They're ranking 32. The ownership is at a D-. The shine is off of that now. They haven't won a playoff game in a long time. It's going to be interesting to see if the Steelers become one of those organizations of the past. If they become, at one point in time, the Pittsburgh Pirates in the 60s and 70s were one of the top organizations in baseball. And now look at the Pirates. They're an organization of the past. Do the Steelers become that too? Do the Steelers come back down to earth, with the rest of the East Coast Midwest cities that aren't New York?
I'd love to see it, but I mean, I won't believe
it. I was going to say the same thing.
I hope so. I hear what you're saying. I won't believe it until I see it, because it's like the way that just being a Browns fan is with Pittsburgh. Yeah, Bill Cowher left, so that was great. Then they brought in Tomlin. He was there for 20 years. And it's like, who knows, like if this new guy, like he might come in and be there for another 20 years, and they just.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy's like 70 already, though.
That's what, he has like 5 years in him. But
we'll talk about my guy like that. That's who I wish we would have got. But hey, everybody wanted they were talking about, we got to get some young blood in here, coach wise. We got to start this new NFL here. But
experience part, he's just 50.
Yeah, but you got a Monken. So you ended up getting the older guy anyway. He was just not the older guy that I wanted. But, as things go on, I'm getting pretty privy to Mr. Monken there.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like even back to the Browns, I know the big thing we were talking, even I've just seen it like with all like on Instagram, Facebook, all that. Like the big highlight was the head coach ranking. He was dead last in the league as a C-, Stefanski. So I don't know. Like I just always think back to, have you guys seen the clip where Stefanski's like giving a post game like speech to the team, and he's like, I'd never lie to you guys. I told you guys I'd never lie to you. And Miles like gives the guy next to like give him a little side eye, like and again, that might be taken way out of context, but
no, I thought the same thing, dude. Expressions mean a lot, dude. And when Miles did it,
I never lied to you guys, and he's like, "What?" Like that's what I think the whole team probably felt. It seems like the whole team felt that way about him.
Yeah, Miles. It's an older show, but it was different strokes. But Miles gave him that. What you talking about, Willis? Type look.
For sure. And some of the, and that's one of the reasons why I'm, at the time I wasn't sure. Here's the thing. I thought if they were going to make the change, they needed to change both of them. Right. But they didn't. And we are where we are now. And I wasn't sure if Monken was the guy. Right now, as things are going on, he's winning press conferences, right? He's going on shows and he's winning everything. But he has recently come out and said a couple things about what's going to be happening next year that is not winning the hearts of everybody, right? And it's starting the split between what is a Browns fan and what is not a Browns fan, right? And that is what is happening at the quarterback position next year. And just as we're, before we even get into the combine, the combine is, we've had a lot of the defensive players, we've had tight ends, quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs haven't gone yet. We're going to be having those today.
Mhm.
But he has had a little bit to say about the quarterback position. Now, a lot of Browns fans at the end of the year, there are a lot of us that ended the year like we think we have our guy for next year, right? There's some guys, some Browns fans that are ready to see if there's somebody else. It seems as though the Browns are going to have an open competition next year. That Shador may not be QB1 going into Brown season next year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think he's earned QB1, or are you ready for this open competition? Where are you on this?
At first, I was laughing because I was like, you guys, Sam mentioned he's been on the show since 23. Gary, you've been here longer than I. I was just thinking if this podcast started in 1999, this would be a topic every single year.
For sure.
It's crazy. Whenever I hear like did he earn it? I go back to LeBron James's letter when he came back to Cleveland, was like, in Northeast Ohio, nothing's given, everything's earned. I will start by saying that I would like Shador Sanders to be our quarterback. I would like for it to work out. Do I think he's earned the QB1 job next year based off of what he did last season? No way. There were flashes of it, though. Like, you saw some of those deep balls to Bond, the way he moved in the pocket. So I think he could be the long-term answer. I'm still stuck on, I don't think there's any way that this competition happens and Deshaun Watson doesn't outperform him, because Shador's just a young guy, and I just think Watson's going to outperform him in training camp, and Deshaun Watson might actually be our best option for the single year of next year. That's my feeling on it, but I don't know. I want Shador long-term, but can you keep Shador long-term if you bench him for Watson next season? It's
for sure. I mean, I think if he's not the guy that you give the shot to, it's done.
He's not ready
for him, at least here.
I would think, I don't know. I it's always reverting to him showing flashes, and I think he did. To me, seem like the flashes and what I saw got better the more he played. So I mean, what if he came in earlier in the season? What if? But he didn't get the first team reps. They had Dylan Gabriel. They picked him first, so you're going to give that to Dylan. What's to say if Sanders, was showing better flashes? They didn't do it because he was a fifth rounder. But what if Sanders came in instead of Gabriel? What if Sanders had the opportunity to come in when Gabriel did? I think he would have kept excelling better. I think he would have got better. But it didn't go that way. It's just talk. I'm just talking. But he did show getting better towards the end of the season. I did like what I saw. I do think there's a lot of potential there. But he could win the job. Monken already said it's just not going to be given to anybody. It's going to have to be earned. It's going to be who he sees. Where does Dylan Gabriel sit here? He might be out. I mean, they might, if they can get a 7th round pick or something from somebody for Dylan, I don't know who would be interested in it. I mean, he might get traded out, and they might pick up another quarterback. I'm hoping not in the draft, but they might. There's talks about free agent quarterbacks coming in here and another guy. But at the end of the day, training camp is going to be very crucial. We're going to have another quarterback competition. I thoroughly believe that, because you're going to have to find out who your guy is. And if it's Watson and he's shining, it's Watson. If it's Shador and Monken likes what he sees, it's Shador. You got to put his hat in the ring because he's on the roster. But I'm going to say it. If Dylan Gabriel comes out gunslinging and Monken likes what he sees, it's probably going to be Gabriel, but he's still there. He's still on the roster, so you just can't say no. It's not going to be it, because I know I saw enough, and I know Logan probably saw enough, and I'm probably sure Gary. How do you feel on Gabriel? You probably saw enough too. But I'm just saying it as in general. He is still on the roster, so I'm not just gonna discard the guy like that. I'm not gonna.
That's what they can't say. Yeah, it's a QB competition, but Dylan, you have to keep this drill out. Like it's only between these two guys.
But the problem with the QB competition here that I have is that if you're talking an open competition with the guys that we have here, I have no problem with that, right? I think Shador can win that. The issue though I have is that you're talking about bringing in outside guys like Malik Willis.
That's
right, and the contract that you're going to have to give Malik Willis to come here is a contract that is going to make him the starter. That it's not going to matter really what happens in preseason. Malik Willis is going to be your starter if he comes here. He has to be for the contract. What's that?
He'll still be making less than Watson, but I agree. He's still making about $20 million less than Watson will be making this year.
Yeah. So what? You're going to have 100 something million in two quarterbacks that aren't playing,
and then the fifth round rookie's the one that starts. Yeah.
Yeah. Like he has to be the starter, and then you're going to bring in Anthony Richardson. I mean, and you want to talk about we're talking about combine scores. Talk about a combine that meant nothing. Anthony Richardson had the best combine of any quarterback ever.
Didn't he do relatively well his rookie year? Like maybe it was just a short stretch. Like I know last year he was horrible. There was, and again, it might have been 4 or 5 weeks, but he was on the talk on all the talk shows, like First Take and all that. Like he had a few games where he looked great.
His rookie year, he had 3 touchdowns and 1 interception, and then in 24, he had 8 touchdowns and 12 interceptions.
Yeah, but that 3-to-1 ratio, 3-to-1 year one, like that was. It wasn't even a ratio; it's just what it was. But
it was one game, pretty much, or 2 games.
I don't like the Malik Willis stuff. Makes no sense to me. Again, and to be fair to Dylan Gabriel, because I'll say it with Shador and Watson, Dylan, we saw what we saw. The team was garbage, and the play calling was garbage with him, just like it was with Shador. Malik Willis coming in again, the play calling will change, but we're going to talk free agents and draft here in a little bit. It doesn't matter who the hell we have at quarterback if the best receiving option, and I like Cedric Tillman a lot, but if he's our number one guy because Judy can't catch, or if we want to get into the whole our best receiver is our tight end conversation again, until we
then you don't have a best receiver. But we'll get
yeah. It's just if we have $30 million to spend on someone, it cannot be another quarterback. That would be insane.
I can't see. I mean, I can't even wrap my head around that. Okay, because we keep talking about it. Don't matter who you bring here if you don't have an offensive line. So with that being said, why the hell would you bring in another quarterback, especially if you're going to pay somebody that much to where, like Gary said, you're going to have to start that guy? Doesn't make any sense.
Too.
It doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense at all. I think if the Browns are going to do something and they're going to, start putting eggs in baskets, they're trying to get this line up, because this line right now, I mean, we have a rebuild on this offensive line, and you need, I mean, I could go down the line and I can do it real quick. Cam Robinson, Jack Conklin, Joe Bitonio is a question mark. We already know Wyatt Teller's out of here. Ethan Posick coming off a knee. Ethan Posick was recovering from a ruptured Achilles. That's bad. That's not a good injury. That's tough. And being a bigger guy like that too, more weight, it's tough. It's tough. DeJuan Jones,
right?
DeJuan Jones can't play more than 6 games without getting hurt in the season. We already seen that. So if the Browns are going to spend some money on a free agent, you got to get a vet. I would think you need to go get that veteran offensive lineman, and if you're going to pay money. I don't know if we can afford the Lindenbaum, but there's other guys out there, David Edwards, Buffalo, Elijah Vera, Tucker. I mean, my scary part with this whole rebuild of this line is really that's all important pieces, but our center, You got to be on the same page. The center's got to be on the same page with the quarterback, and that's where the game starts. Is right there, and like I said, Bitonio's still up in the air. Our center spot, man, it's scary. It's just scary to me. So if you're going to spend money, please go out and get an offensive lineman. We need that. And draft. So we'll get into that talk too, but you're going to need a draft offensive lineman also.
Yes.
You're in a rebuild. Where do you start rebuilding your team? In the draft, right, guys? I mean,
and not to like keep beating a dead horse here, but it's like you have to develop a quarterback at some point. You have to. You have to develop a quarterback. You're not Malik Willis is not going to come in here and be your savior.
No.
There's like these guys, there's a reason. There is a reason why Malik Willis was a backup quarterback. These guys these guys aren't backup quarterbacks and then become something.
I think we tried that. Go ahead, Gary.
Even like Sam Darnold. Like, don't forget, Sam Darnold was a top 10 draft pick at one point in time.
He was number 1.
Right?
Or was he 3? 3 behind. It was Mayfield was that year.
Yeah, Mayfield. We had he was, you know what I'm saying?
He was third to the Jets or something.
Yeah, Baker was the number 1. So Sam Darnold was a top 10 draft pick. So at one point in time, he had that pedigree.
We should get a guy like Mayfield.
Well, you were supposed
to. Even him, though.
Your Gabriel. That was supposed to be your Gabriel. Your supercomputer.
But Mayfield, though.
But hang on. But we tried that. I think we already flirted with that last year. You know, bringing in a quarterback. Not developmental, because we had the 2 rookies. We had Dylan Gabriel. We had Shedeur Sanders.
Oh, Kenny Pickett.
That you're trying. Well, unfortunately, Kenny Pickett got hurt in training camp. So, you know, it was a competition between Joe and Pickett for that starting job. I firmly believe that. If Pickett didn't get hurt, who would have got the job? We don't know. But it was Flacco. So you had Flacco in here. I believe you were going to ride Flacco to try to get a little bit better. You already knew what you had when you had him here. He was able to win you games. You were going to get through this season with Flacco. You know, he's aging as a quarterback, but hey, he can win games. He's proven himself. The players here like him. He's already got camaraderie in the locker room. And then while that's going on, you know, you're going to develop your Gabriel and your Sanders, but that did not happen because Flacco was not playing well at all. Okay. So then you know what the team did. They're like, well, this ain't working out, man. We're just going to go ahead and start giving these rookies, plug them in. You know, we're going to plug in Gabriel. Well, it didn't work either because you mean, lo and behold, we already knew we were going to have a line issues. Okay.
Yeah.
And that reared its head right away. And that was proven when Joe went to Cincinnati and started doing well. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and then you I keep saying it, you threw these rookies into that ring of fire quick, way sooner than they needed to be for both them guys, for both them young men. So we tried that, but they didn't want to continue with that. I wish they would have not got rid of Joe. I mean, just stick with what you got and let's just go. That's, you know, because I'm a firm believer. And these rookies need the NFL. It seems like they push these rookies out there way too fast. You know, years ago, you sat on the bench. You know, Tom Brady was on the bench. You know, a lot of these guys, Favre on the bench. They didn't just come in and start. You had to learn the game.
But there wasn't 300 of these podcasts out there now for each team, you know, demanding results. You know, like there's a lot more pressure on these teams and these players now than there ever was as well. Which is, I think, why this happens now. Everything is faster than it ever was.
And we drafted the most polarizing guy in the draft. Like, I know we started Gabriel first, but that felt almost like a little check off the box. Like, let's give him the shot first. Oh, yeah, he's underperforming like we thought he would. All right, it's Shedor's time.
Sometimes I'm a firm believer, if things aren't broke, why are you trying to mess with it? You know, if sitting a guy for a year or two as a rookie, you know, would get them better developed to be ready to take that QB1 role. And it worked back in the past. It's proven. Why don't you go back to some of that stuff? Why don't you do it that way? You know, if it's the new future to NFL to hurry up and throw a rookie out there so you can sometimes this destroys their careers. That's horrible.
Gabriel like might have had a chance to be a starter somewhere. Now, I don't know if he ever
I don't know
Right.
about that, man.
Well,
I mean,
and I want
maybe
to
to be a career
touch
backup.
on something too. You
Yeah.
really don't know what you got anyway, because the draft is a gamble. Okay, so some guys play well in college. They were great in college. They get to NFL. I mean, because that's a factor. They're just not NFL quarterbacks or NFL any position. They just don't succeed in that. So I don't know. I wish they had gotten some more time to develop, but that wasn't the case. So you can't bring another quarterback here. We got enough mess going around now. I want to see a Watson Shador competition. Okay. And best man wins. You put your best man forward, and then you go with that.
So, Gary, you think if Watson wins that competition, Shador's time in Cleveland is done?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I think opposite. That's why I like this show.
No, I was just curious. I don't know. I find it very hard to believe that like Monken. It just feels like the Cleveland Browns way. Like Watson's going to finally look halfway like himself next year, and we'll at the very end of his contract, and it'll just be horror. It'll be the worst case scenario. So like Shador's development gets slowed down because finally our $250 million quarterback is playing like at least $100 million quarterback, and like we win 7 or 8 games, and it kind of just.
I'm gonna say this now: if Watson comes out and he's winning games and he's looking like he's never gonna look like the Watson from 2018. Stop that! Stop all that. Them days are over. Them days are over just based on age for me and Achilles and injuries. That's done. Okay.
Arm injuries and
arm injury, shoulder. Those days are done. That's done. Okay. And I cannot see, even if he plays well, they're not re-signing that guy. They already learned their lesson. I hope to God they learned their lesson.
If that's the case, then then he can't be part of the open competition, because right now the Browns, if the way they are doing everything is they are trying to get ready for that dome to open, and you're supposed to be getting ready for the future. So if re-signing him is off the table, which it should be, but if re-signing him is off the table, no matter what he does, then he's not part of that. He can't be a part of that competition then.
So I know you're saying this is
for next season,
the way that the Browns are operating, but like as us who watch the games or go to the games, so next year just doesn't really matter. Like if we win or not, it's more about seeing if we can get ready for the dome. Like if we know Watson is one and done and we would win 10 games next year, do you think we would start him?
No, I mean, look at what they've done with this team. You have no offensive line. You went into the offseason with no offensive line. Yeah. You don't have I think since no team has ever gone into an offseason allowing their whole offensive line to hit free agency like this since 1971 or something crazy like that?
Yeah, since the merger.
Since the merger?
Yeah.
So
it's never happened before.
It's literally never happened before. What's up, Quick Clips? Thank you for joining us again. Good morning. There's, so how could you ever say that the Browns are trying to win next year?
You know what I mean? I'm just when you said it, I got angry I think I'm just in disbelief that it's like, holy shit. Yeah. They don't care. Like if they win next season,
they don't care.
Yeah. That's what I think if all I was saying about the QB competition is that there's a chance that our best opportunity to win would come with Deshaun Watson is all I was saying. I think he might be the best option to win. But now if we don't care about winning, then maybe he shouldn't see the field. And
I think and so for me, you develop Shador, man. And
I want Shador to work out.
I think it's healthy to go out there and say that it's a quarterback competition because you want him competing, right? But it's one of those things where I don't know, man.
His to lose type thing, it's his competition to lose. Like it is a competition, but he's 1A.
He's 1A, man. He goes in there. Listen, I've said this before. I will say it again. Every year we have quarterbacks that the Browns play that make these throws and do these things, and every year we go, man, I wish I had a quarterback that could do those things. And guess what? Shador does those things. He's just a young quarterback, and those other things you got to develop in him. The things that The things that he doesn't do well are things that you can develop and teach.
Yeah, like
You know, the
timing in the pocket and shit
yeah,
like
man.
that.
The other stuff that you can't teach are the stuff that he does well.
I do like him shaking the pressure and rolling out and throwing the deep
Yeah,
ball.
man.
I say it every time to
Mhm.
Bond, like that shit. I'm just gonna start swearing now because we've been talking quarterbacks for too long.
Well,
Like-
it's. I mean, in a perfect world, yes, we want to have the next quarterback moving forward from now into the dome. Yes, Shador would be great. Yes, I'm all for it. I am all for it.
And
That'd
guess
be
what?
great. That'd be great to go. You know, we go through training camp. Shador shines like a diamond, gets the QB1 job. You got Watson as a veteran backup. Perfect scenario there, right? Sounds good.
And
Moving forward.
And you know what? If Shador turns out, if I'm wrong, and Shador's not the guy, I think he is. So it's not even. I'm not even saying give him a shot. I'm going out and saying I think he's the guy.
Mhm.
If I'm wrong, and he proves next year that he is not the guy, right? The next year is when you have all those quarterbacks coming out again. Supposedly, who knows? Who knows who comes out and what happens? Who gets injured and whatever. But that is the year that you're supposed to have all these other quarterbacks coming out, right? So if he's not the guy, you're going to be drafting high again. And you're going to have your shot at another quarterback.
With the same problem, like if we're not trying to win next year, like if your theory, which is sounding more real, if it is actually true, like, and we're not trying, like, it doesn't matter if we win next year. If we have a randomly taped together line and don't do much at the receiver position, like Shador's not going to succeed. And then it's going to make everyone here is going to think that he's not the guy. And that's where I just wish we would go all in and just try to win games now. Because if Shador plays next year and the line still sucks and we don't have a receiver, like no quarterback would look good. And then we'll be sitting here all next year and saying how bad Shador is. And it's like, but it's not his fault. It's not.
Yeah, but I think he is going to look good, though.
I hope so.
That dude is going to have a whole off season. I mean, have you been paying? If you've been paying attention, like every quarterback we have had here since I can remember has been going home in the off season. Shador's in Berea.
Yeah.
Right now. You know what I mean?
Anybody but Shador said, we want Shador. What's this?
Yeah. No, I'm ignoring that. I think he's not necessarily talking to us.
Yeah.
Might be talking to
other,
but like,
if they asked if Shador plays well and goes to the playoffs, do we trade him or keep him?
Right, keep him.
If he plays well and goes to the playoffs, we build a statue of him outside of the new dome.
Yeah, for sure.
All right,
but like, yeah, I mean, he's I think he does succeed. He's the guy. You're talking about like you want a guy that's like committed and wants. I mean, the guy is in Berea right now. I don't know if he's in here right now, but he's here. He's here in the offseason. You know who wasn't here in the offseason? The guy we paid $232 million to.
Yeah.
Baker wasn't here in the offseason.
Cabo in December, Gary.
What's that?
Have you ever been to Cabo in February? It's beautiful.
Yeah, Johnny wasn't here in the offseason. Name the last Browns quarterback that was here in the offseason.
Yeah. I mean, can we have a franchise guy that we want to ride with for some years to come?
For sure, man.
We haven't had that. We haven't had that.
We need Jose Ramirez, man, a guy that loves Cleveland for no reason.
I mean, how great would it be for Shador to be that guy? That would be such an epic story coming out, how the draft worked out. Just with that being said, how he dropped in the draft. They sent him to Cleveland. Quarterbacks go to Cleveland to die. They're the land of misfit toys. That's where people send their broken players and their troublemakers. You go to Cleveland. That's their last stop. And then Shador builds this and we get this franchise guy and we start hovering really well. We making some playoffs, we're making some runs, and we get into the dome, and then we're out there shooting for the stars. That would be a great story. I'm all for it.
And what else would be cool too, man? You talking about like, Browns fans. So there's all these people that are Shador fans and aren't Browns fans. But you know what, dude? If Shador like succeeds here and he's here for a long time, guess what? Those are Browns fans forever now.
Yeah.
After Shador. You know what I mean? Like this is I'm rooting for Shador for a lot of reasons, man. You know, this opens up the Browns become a cool franchise.
Yeah, and like
If
you said,
if they if,
he'll bring
if
all his Shadorians because
if he
that's where
bring
they're at. There's
if he
Browns fans, and then there's the Shadorians.
oh my god, dude, if he
Shador.
brings if
He's
the
like
Browns
Taylor
give him a
Swift
real
in the NFL.
what's that?
Oh.
He's like Taylor Swift, kind of like have that same
Yeah, man.
act.
Dude, if the Browns give him a real shot and he succeeds, like, dude, come on, dude. The party that we're gonna have here with Shador, and it's gonna be incredible. Like, come on, man, let's go.
If Shador wins the Super Bowl, I'm partying. That's for sure.
You know what I mean? Like
10 years ago, I wrote that down. I'll stay sober unless the Browns win the Super Bowl with Shador Sanders.
So, going back to it, I understand, it's professional sports and you want competitions and things like that. But like don't bring in guys here that you have to start ahead of him because you're paying them $20-30 million. Like, don't do that to yourself. You have a young guy here that there's something about him. Develop him.
Give him players, which brings us to free agency and the draft. I think one thing, and like we'll talk about the draft here in a second, and free agents. One, and not just because he's a Michigan guy, but like I'm waiting to see Zinter. He's been injured since we got him. He was a part of the national champ. Like he was a second round pick. We got him. Like he was one of the best guards in the draft when we picked him, and he just has not been available. So I'm hoping Zinter can at least like fill one of the spots on our line. That would be huge, but we'll see if he stays healthy.
Yeah, man. And then, so, we know that, we have the, the sexy positions today in the combine, but Sam's been watching the combine all week for some of the less sexy positions. Who stood out to you? Guys that could help us maybe on the line or on defense?
Well, I mean, as some of the holes we already know, we have offensive line to be worked on. We have wide receiver stuff that we need to be worked on. But on the defensive side of the ball, I feel that we're going to need a defensive back positions, a safety position. Our defensive tackles to me seem like we're good. If they get somebody later in the draft, great. But it's not a draw my concern. One of the highlights of some of this is linebacker. Devin Bush did great last year. We already know what Carson Schlesinger has done. But can we afford Devin Bush is going to want that big, he's up. It's time to pay the man. Can we afford him? That's the question mark. And JOK, is still a big question mark. And I don't think he's coming back. I'm just going to say it. I don't think he's coming back. I think his heart and his drive and everything wants him to come back. But I think that JOK is one injury away, listening to doctors. Now this is all speculation. Don't quote me. I'm not his doctor. I don't know. But I know if you get hurt and you have a bad neck injury, it's like a boxer. You take one more hit, you're done. They tell you that. You got to quit boxing. I think he could one more tweak to the neck and then he's riding in a wheelchair for the rest of his life.
I don't know if I could. I would love to see him run out of that tunnel and like he's back with our team. But it's like, dude, I don't know. Just even as a fan, it'd be tough to watch. Like every time he tackles somebody, just almost like anxious for the guy. Like, you're gonna get up each time he tackles someone. Like I wouldn't. As much as I'd love to see him back, it's like you don't want to see anything awful happen. So maybe he should just.
Yeah, and we all had that vision, man, because we've all said it, man. How awesome would that be to see JOK next to Carson and them getting out there and doing their thing, But another thing is too, if JOK was to come back, are you getting the JOK you had?
Yeah, I think him as like a linebacker coach. I mean, he seems like a really smart dude. Like I think bringing him on as a coach of some sort would be kind of a good middle ground.
Keeping them around the facility for sure, something like that. Yeah, because like the last thing I ever want to see, and you said it too, is for him to have that drive and want to go out there and then something tragic happens to that guy. I don't want that to be his. I don't want that to be his story. I don't want that. So I mean, I think we're looking at we need we're probably going to need a linebacker in the draft. I think as far as our like defensive backs, I really feel our need of is a certain area of it. We need like the nickel. So you need a nickel guy in there, and for nickel packages and dime packages. I think that's where I think.
Is there anybody that has stood out to you in the combine that could fill those needs?
Well, man, I like both them boys from Ohio State.
Yeah, Styles brothers.
Man, how lucky were we? How do we got a championship? God damn it, man! With them two boys out there, you're talking about Avery Reese, and I'm talking about Sonny Styles. Man, we get both of them guys. Yeah, we had Styles, Lorenzo Styles Jr. out there at safety. And those guys, Reese and Styles, look really good. I don't know if those are guys that I like. I don't know if we'll get those guys. I really didn't pay too much other mind to too many of the. There were some guys that shined. I'd have to go back and look, but the Styles and Reese stood out to me, not just because they're Ohio State guys. They looked really good at the combine. They both tied each other for. They both ran a 4.6 in the 40. They tied each other. Styles set a record for linebackers over 244 pounds with the vertical jump at 43.5. I mean, when he got up there, the other linebackers that were watching were jumping with him like, yeah, man, that was awesome. So you got people that, are already watching what you're doing. I think he's another one to shine.
That's the best for a linebacker since 2003.
Yeah. Yes. And then Avery Reese, he came out and he quoted that he wants to be a Brown.
He's from,
he's from Cleveland. And
he's
he
like
said,
a okay type guy. He's
he said that don't you want a guy that wants to be here?
No, because something's wrong with him.
well, we talked about it, but he was born and raised here. So he is true to where he's at, and he wants to be here. I thought that was great for him to come out and just, hey, man, it would be great. I would love to be here. So that's great, man. Those two are gruesome twosome, man, linebackers. And, real quick, I want to touch on the Styles family. I mean, Sonny Styles, we already know, the linebacker, standout at Ohio State. Lorenzo Styles Jr., he ran a 4.27 in the dash, dude. That's flying, brother. Mm. That's the best. That's the fastest safety run dash since 2003. And their lineage is just their lineage. This family was built for players. Their dad, Lorenzo Styles Sr., was linebacker at Ohio State University also. So that's a football family. I mean, I don't know, when you talk lineage of football players, that's what it stands out to me there. So, I know we already talked about needing offensive linemen. We're going to need that. It's a big crucial part. If I had it my way and we just went with the draft that did not trade down, I would definitely take an offensive lineman at 1. Or at 6. I'm sorry, we're a 6 pick. And then I might flirt with either doubling up on an O-line guy at 24 or going for that receiver that's out there, because we do need help in that. So, I would say O-line 6. I would go, I think, wide receiver at 24. And then you go after the next top lineman that's out there that will fit what we need to do here when you're coming back in the draft here. We're on offense. We're on offensive linemen, so I might as well just get to some names. I mean, we're already on it, if that's fine.
Yeah, let's go, man.
Some top guys that are standing out that are projected to be, if the Browns go at 6 with offensive linemen, are Spencer Fano, tackle, Utah. He's widely mocked to be the Browns at number 6. Fano is viewed as a very versatile starter who can play both left and right tackle, which I like that idea. He's very technical, and he has a high floor, man. So that's somebody that's projected to go. Also, Francis, here we go. Let me get this. May we goa. All right. Tackle. I think that's close enough.
Yep. That's it. Perfect.
Yeah, Francis May we goa. Tackle Miami, 6'6", 335 pounds, right tackle. Very considered to be very physical. He run blocking prospect, great run blocking. He could be the guy that would replace Jack Conklin in my eyes. So I think we can go there. And then there's a bunch of others. So those are like my top 2 guys if we go at a 6. But also, like Blake Miller, tackle from Clemson, Strongsville, Ohio kid, strong candidate. Maybe later, like I said, if we go offensive lineman, then we go wide receiver. And I said, then you get your next top, available offensive lineman again when you're coming back. Blake Miller, Diego Pounds, another good one. And I mean, there's other guys down the line too. Caleb Lemieux, Utah tackle. There's going to be guys available later in the rounds. Austin Barber, Florida tackle, are on radars. They're on, those are some guys that keep some names on. So later in the rounds, but the top 2 is going to be Fano and May we go. Francis May we go would be my top 2. Who I'd want to go with. We actually the offensive tackles get to go on Sunday. We'll see them. Today was going to be today's combine is going to be, I think, in this particular order also. So it's something to look at. Will be running backs, quarterbacks, wide receivers. That's what I want to get to next. I'm not too worried about looking at quarterbacks. I'm not too worried about looking at running backs right now. Yeah. So that's my next kind of target area to watch. But yeah, O-line guys, we know we're in a rebuild. Where do you start it at? You started at the draft. It's a main important thing this year. We have to get linemen, and I would like to see, instead of, we talked about it earlier in the show, and if you missed it, I'm saying it again. Instead of going out and getting another quarterback to sit in this room and cause more chaos, let's not do that. Let's spend some money on a veteran offensive lineman, and then bring in some young bloods. You're going to want the young.
Try to do with Conklin when we brought him in, and he just hasn't stayed healthy. Right. But yeah, there's some good free agent linemen out there. Somebody commented here, I think Gary, you pinned it for a second, that the Browns will probably trade back. It's probably going to happen. It seems like that's something that we would do. I wish we would. It might make sense to do it. It probably does, but like the fan in me just wants to just take the best player that's of our need at 6. Like, stop overthinking it. Just, again, if it's the receiver, like they're even saying like that Malachi Lemon, I think he's the USC guy. Like him there's the 3 top receivers. There's linemen that'll be available. Like just take one of them. Is kind of my thought on it. Unless like you're only trading back 2 spots, because then one of those guys will still be there. But it's like, don't trade back to 18 or 20 or something. Like, just take it.
What? I am so down on the Browns right now that Jalen Tyson's brother, was it Jason Tyson?
Yeah. Oh, he was the other one. Yeah, him, Carnell Tate, and
Jordan Tyson's the other receiver.
Jordan Tyson, right? So taking him, Jalen Tyson is like said, like, oh, drafting my brother would make me a better basketball player. He's been kind of like a standout breakout for the Cavs. If drafting his brother to the Browns would make him a superstar for the Cavs and get them closer to a championship in the NBA, I'm for the Browns taking him to get us a Cavs championship. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, the Browns are never going to win one. We might as well just everybody works together to get one of the other teams.
For sure.
Maybe Hassan can donate some of his money to Dolan to spend on free agents.
Let's go, man.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I think Tyson was like, for a while, he was like the clear-cut wide receiver 1, and now it's it's a little more of a gray area. Like obviously here, like Carnell Tate's name comes up all the time because he's a Buckeye.
I don't think
he's a great receiver.
I'm sorry, Logan. I'm cutting you off, man. Go ahead, buddy. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, not that I don't think Carnell Tate is the wide receiver one. I just know we hear about him more often because most of like people in this area watched him every Saturday. But like Tyson's brother was like the clear cut wide receiver one for a while there.
I don't see if they decide their need is a wide receiver. I already said I want an offensive lineman first. You know, that's our need. That's our rebuild. You know, we can work with what we got. We will still be able to get there's still good wide receivers out there, but your top guys, like you said, you got your Jordan Tyson, you got your Mekhi Lemon, you have Carnell Tate, in which if the Browns, us at 6, Carnell Tate ain't going to be there. I already think I know where Carnell Tate's going to go. He's going to go Giants. Giants are going to pull him. But
you think he'll be the first receiver off the board?
Yes. And I think he'll go to the Giants. And my guy that I like, you know, and I think he might be there. If you go O-line and then I said go at 24 and get that receiver, I think he'll still be there, and that's Denzel Boston. That's the big 6'4", 209 pound receiver, gray hands out of Vanderbilt. That's the guy I like. That's the guy
You related with David Boston, do we know? David Boston was a Buckeye, wasn't he? I don't want to get off topic here, but I'm just wondering if he's related. Every time I see Denzel Boston, like in my head, I was saying that must be David Boston's kid. And I don't know.
I think it is. I
have no idea. It was just
looking it up in the Google machine right now.
Yeah,
Denzel Boston is the son of former Ohio State and NFL wide receiver David Boston.
Man, forget everything I've ever said. Let's get Denzel. Sam's on to something. Let's just get that guy.
And I talk about it, man. We are AFC North. I can't hit my hand too hard. I'm still getting over this thumb, sir. I don't even have my brace on.
Yeah, Braylon Edwards.
We need a big receiver here. Okay, I'm not taking nothing away from your Mekhi Lemon. Mekhi Lemon is going to be awesome. We don't need 5'11" guys here. I like 6'4", 209 pounds. I like that. Okay, that's intriguing to me. That's very intriguing. We need a big wideout. Okay, if he's out at X or wherever, you need it.
But why didn't he go to Ohio State? What happened there?
What's that?
Why didn't he go to Ohio State? Isn't David Boston and Ohio State great?
Yeah.
Who knows, man? He's Vanderbilt. I tell you what.
I know if he had gone to Michigan, his son would have gone to Michigan. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
You know,
we'll have let's do we'll have Deion Sanders' kid, David Boston's kid. You know, like the 6'4" tall receiver. You know who we should have got is Mike Evans when we drafted Johnny Manziel. You know who would have been nice to have with Johnny Manziel would be his 6'4" college teammate instead of Corey Coleman.
Yeah, that would have been great too.
Yeah, that would have been really cool if we just drafted the future Hall of Famer instead of Corey Coleman.
Yeah.
So that's that's the one thing that stands. As much as I love Braylon Edwards, he had one good season, kind of. But like the Corey Coleman thing, like scares me from wanting to draft a receiver in the top 5 or 6.
Yeah, I want to correct something because I have another guy. That's how I got the colleges mixed up. Denzel Boston, University of Washington. So I'm correcting that.
Yeah.
Because I have a tight end that I really like too. We'll get to that. But
is it Eli Stowers?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I like he's going to be a day 2 pick.
Yeah, I like him. Here's my thing, and it's not
more tight ends at receiver. Let's go.
Well, no. I think that you could take an Eli Stower. It's rare that it happens in this position where you take a tight end and you make him a wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the kid that you can do that with. I watched the footage. They do line him up on the wide out. He's great in the slot position. He's not known for pass blocking. So I'm strictly talking about.
Okay, we don't block here.
Well, no. Well, what I mean is I'm strictly talking about taking him and converting him over. You know, he was a quarterback. They turned him into a tight end. Okay. Now take him from a tight end and put him in that receiver spot.
Quarterback?
Yes, he was a quarterback.
What was his 40
He would
time?
have been great with Stefanski.
He ran a 4. He's pretty quick. He ran a 4.5, a low 4.5, which he's got good speed, great hands. He can get separation. I think that he can be that guy too out there. I think you could take a guy.
At a 4.5, is he getting separation against linebackers, or is he getting separation against?
No, he's out there getting on the cornerbacks. They've lined him up out there, like how we did Fannin. But I'm strictly talking about taking this guy and making him a wide receiver in the NFL for the Browns.
All I heard was make him a quarterback as soon as I saw that. Stefanski could have had some. Imagine the wildcat passes with this dude.
Well, you get players that come. I'll bring up. You get players that they convert over to different positions. All right, you get quarterbacks become wide receivers. Wide receivers become tight ends in the NFL. It's happened. Hines Ward was a quarterback, a running back, special teamer, wide receiver. He ended up coming to NFL. He was a wide receiver. So they do make changes like that. So he was a standout to me. Just his physicality, his height. He's not too big. He's big. He's big. He's what am I got him written up? He's 6'4", 239, almost 240.
Sam just loves him some.
But hey, we have a D- here at the food, so we can thin him up a little bit. So and we can get him. I think we can get him out as a wide out
he's
spot.
not close with his family too, so he doesn't have to worry about that because we won't treat him right.
right. But he stood out to me. I really like the kid. But I think we do with David Njoku being gone out of here. We are going to have to find a tight end. But if we're going to go strictly tight end, we need a pass or we need a run blocking tight end for sure. I don't want a guy that we're going to have to work with and make him. Even David Njoku, when David Njoku got here, he was not known for the blocking.
Yeah,
and he had to work on that.
And when he left, he still wasn't. Can I say something real quick? Because I missed a couple weeks ago when all of this happened. I want to be the only person in Cleveland, it seems, who's truthful on all of this, and happy to see David Njoku go. David Njoku was overrated. They should have traded him when he asked for the trade years and years and years ago. And in my book, when you are a Cleveland athlete and you ask for a trade publicly and things get out like that, you're done with me. I just want, unless your name's Myles Garrett, unless you're Myles Garrett, you know what I mean? But like, you have to overcome that, David Njoku, when he asked for that trade, was nary in a position to be asking for that trade, and really did nothing ever after that to justify being the highest paid tight end in the league.
No.
He was overrated and really didn't do much for this team. So happy trails. As far as being a Brown forever.
Well, I think deciding factor for David was seeing Harold Fannin come in here. And he already knew that he was going to be playing second fiddle. I mean, the next young guy's coming in, and he absolutely shined last year for us. If you put him the hybrid tight end, where we go back to that, but you could line him up anywhere. He did really good and excelled. David's not going to want to play second fiddle.
Listen, David Njoku, I bet is not playing football next year.
Oh, he'll be on it.
I was going to go the exact opposite, and he's going to actually look like that first round pick that we used on him.
I don't think so.
I think he's going
to. Who has room for a super athletic tight end that doesn't catch the ball?
The Browns.
That's it.
I mean, you couldn't see him go to Cincinnati and Joe Burrow, slings the rock. I don't know. It's just
I can see. I'll tell you, if he's going to go in any division, I can see him being a Steeler.
Yeah,
I can see him being a Steeler. They got their big tight end out there, Washington. He's he was, I believe, a defensive tackle turned tight end. So things do happen here. Or he might have been an offensive lineman, but He's a big guy out there for the Steelers, but being big as he is, Washington, the tight end from Pittsburgh, you're going to need a rotational guy. And I think David Njoku would be a fit over there for them.
When you have guys that want to be here, you keep them. When you have guys that don't want to be here,
unless they're
Njoku was one of those guys, man.
Yeah.
That's right. I like them. I don't have a problem with them. Actually, every week I would put $5 on a Njoku anytime touchdown, and I lost a lot of money doing that.
You sure did. you sure did.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take nothing away from David. I like David Njoku.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with him.
I'm not going to wish ill will on a guy leaving here.
I don't wish him ill will.
I hope that he goes and finds another home, and I hope that he does well wherever he goes.
Man,
I mean,
I hope his investments go well, and he has lots of pretty women, or and like his food is really good, and his you know what I mean? Like, I hope everything in real life goes well. Football wise, he was a disappointment here. And
as most of them are, though, it's not just him, it's all of them.
Gary just hit the ejecto-cito cuz button on the Njoku.
Yeah, for sure. But you know what? Yeah, for sure. Not everybody lives up. Not everybody lives up to everything. But when but the fact is, man, is that the timing of what he did. Like, we were coming off of those 0-16, 1-15 seasons. We were rebuilding, right? We had all of this noise going on at that time with, the coaching stuff, OBJ, right? All of that stuff that was going on, right? Mm-hmm. And he had come out of nowhere with that noise for no reason. And the Browns shut him up with that contract. And he didn't live up to half of that contract.
Yeah.
He created an issue that really was like, he created another issue for that team that was in a position to win and was a detriment to that team. And then became, I know what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? Goodbye. Have a good day.
Yeah.
Good luck somewhere else.
Yeah, he wanted to be a top tight end paycheck, but he wasn't
without being a top tight end.
But I was just going to say that, but he wasn't playing like top 5 tight end football.
And the Browns were in such a position that they were afraid that he was going. They thought he was going to be, and they were afraid that nobody else would come here, and so they gave it to him.
Yeah. And I've watched the dude's off-season workouts. He does not stop working out.
For sure.
But I also do want to say he's been in the league for a little while now, and at the tight end spot,
8 years.
You're getting beat up because you typically your tight ends are bigger guys, and it's going to take more than 1 or 2 guys to bring you down. When it is a smaller defensive back or something, where do they usually get the tight end at? Knock him out at his legs. So you get beat up. You get beat up at the tight end spot, and I think David, he slowed down. I think he looked slower last year. He looked a lot slower. So, like I said,
our saving grace is not going to be a tight end. So it's like, all right, don't waste our money there.
What were we laughing? We were laughing at a comment. I missed it.
Yeah. Quick clips. He's right. He's gone now. He can't hurt me anymore. I know. I just wasn't here when it happened, so I had to get this off my chest.
Until like Sam or I said, he goes to Cincinnati or Pittsburgh, and twice a year he hurts us in different ways. But it is what it is. I don't know. We have more problems to worry about than our tight end number 2. So I like the Denzel Boston thing, man. Now I'm going to be on that train for a while.
I like him. I think that's somebody that we can acquire at that. If we go O-line, I think, obviously you can get him at 6 if you decide that that's where you want to pick from and get a wide receiver. But I think he'll also be around at that 24 spot. So
yeah, that's if we can trade down to like 12 even and get another 2nd round pick out of it and like draft him there. Or, I don't know. It's tough. Like if the line isn't there, it doesn't matter how good our quarterback or receivers are. And it's like very uneventful or unexciting to draft linemen, but we got to do it. There's no question.
Yeah, but like I said, when I was talking about my guy from Vanderbilt, Eli Stower, I'm talking about converting that guy to a different position of a wide receiver. When we do, because we are going to have to draft another tight end, because that's how we got on this David Njoku talk. Fannin is great. He's going to need backup guy. We're going to need backup. We still got White Hart. We still got guys there. But we're going to need, and you're going to need a blocking tight end. You're going to need a guy that's a tight end that is known for blocking, okay? Because we're going to have to run the football, right? So, and there's some guys on. You need some big bodies out there blocking, you know. There's a kid from Stanford, Sam Roush. He's a big-bodied guy, 6'6", 267. Out there, that's a big guy that you need in that blocking scheme for running backs, you know.
Then you got
physical, you need physical tight end. You know, we got our hybrid. We got our hybrid tight end. Yes, Sadiq. I think he's going to go sooner than later. I don't know if we go 6 and 24 like we're supposed to, and then we go back and we get an offensive tag. Like, I don't think he's going to be. I think Sadiq. If somebody needs a tight end, he's going to go fast. He's going to be off the market quick.
How big is he?
Oh, where's Sadiq at?
What would Mary Kay do? WWM.
I don't have his measurements.
I'm gonna look him up right now. So Sadiq,
yeah, he did run a 4.39, strong run blocking.
I mean, he's 6'3", so you want to talk about it turning a guy into a wide receiver? That's a guy you turn into a wide receiver.
No, you do Eli Stower. Nice try.
This guy's 6'3", he's an inch smaller. And he's much faster.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I see that. Yeah. At a 4.39, he is much faster.
He's a little and can block a little bit. You get that and Denzel Boston, who's already a receiver. Then you all of a sudden we're a physical team.
I can see what you're saying there, but I think that guy's going to be off the board fast. I don't think you're going to be able to get him in a later round. Tight end Sadiq, I think he'll be gone sooner than later. I think your Stower will be out there. Who else out here? Justin Jolly, like I said, that Sam Roush from Stanford. I think those guys will be there. I think let all the tight ends. Sadiq is the number one tight end to get picked this year. First one to go. Tate be the first wide receiver to go.
So this kind of leads us into our last segment here: needs and wants. Right? What do we need? What do we want? Logan, we'll start with you. What do we need? What do we want here with the Browns?
I mean, the needs, I guess, are obvious. We need wide receivers and linemen. That being said, there is, like Sam, you mentioned, linebacker is like kind of a sneaky need that we have. The guy I want is from Texas. His name is Anthony Hill Jr., I think it is. I've watched a few Texas games this year. I think he'd fall. I think he's like a second round or third round pick right now projected. I think he's a sneaky guy that we could bring in. Might like not have the immediate impact that Schlesinger has because that was kind of out of this world. But he'd be a guy that I think the fans would love. Obviously played for Texas. He was, a big prospect and everything. So, I just love offense though so much. I just want an exciting receiver. I'm so sick of us trying to get by without that. Like, you look at these other teams, like they go out, they get the quarterback, and they get him a really good guy to throw to. Like, stop overthinking it. Just get again, if it's Denzel Boston, who's the fourth receiver on the list, though, like, just get a receiver in the first round. I don't give a shit who it is. Just get a receiver in the first round. That's my feelings on it. Like, kind of just to shut everybody up and say, okay, even Corey Coleman, like, as bad as he was, it was like, kind of like the Watson thing. Like, at least they tried to go out and get a playmaker. Not trying to get the second and third round guys to be wide receiver ones. Get the wide receiver one when they're normally drafted. So that's my unpassionate take on what we need to do. Just have somebody that can catch the fucking ball.
please. What
about you, Sam?
No, wants and needs, man. Wants. We already talked about it. We're rebuilding an offensive line. So that's a want and a need. That's real simple. And I brought up 2 guys' names that you can get in that number 6 spot, I believe, is Spencer Fano, or you go with Francis Mawugo. Mawugai.
I can't
Here
wait
I
to
go.
figure out how this is pronounced.
Mawigoa. I'm sorry, Mawigoa. So you go with that. That's what you go with. You know, you got to have a line. Like we said, we don't care if Shador's playing stellar and don't have a line. He's not going to be able to get to that pinnacle because you don't have the line. So that's a want and a need for me, is that offensive line. Now, if you go ahead and, like I said, if they go 6 and 24 and they take 2 offensive linemen, I'll be okay with that because that's a problem here. I do want them to take Denzel Boston. I think will be available at 24 because your next thing to fix, we've talked about, is wide receiver spot, and you need a guy. So I think you go at 24, you take the next best wide receiver at that spot. Offensive lineman 6, 24, you go with that receiver. Coming back, attack that offensive tackle. You take the next top offensive tackle that's ready. You get this line fixed so we can see Shador play at his best. Instead of having to extend plays because he's got no time to throw the ball.
Yeah.
And also, it's not just about being able to get this line to where we can pass protect. You got to have a running game, dude. So we need guys that are going to be able to go out there and push guys down the field and pancake press them, so we can get holes for Quinshawn, which I want to touch on. Quinshawn real quick. Quinshawn is out of the boot. Quinshawn is ready to heal. Quinshawn will be ready by training camp. Mark my words, he'll be ready to go. And I think you're gonna have the same Quinshawn that you had before you got hurt. But you got to need these offensive line guys to open up running games too. So it's very crucial this draft. We need to focus on offensive linemen. So that's my want and need, you know. And then Denzel Boston at the receiving spot.
And
Real quick,
go ahead.
One thing that kind of like has flown under the radar, I think, even when I'm just like, when we're looking at the team in general, is special teams. I know that I think, what is it, Rashid Shaheed, the guy from Seattle, the kick returner, he's a free agent. He's also like, he's a smaller guy, so he wouldn't fit into the Denzel Bostons of the world, but he also made tons of plays for Seattle on the offensive side of the ball. But I think having like that electric kick returner, punt returner guy again, like just from watching nobody on the team can catch, I guess, except for our tight end. But like watching the kick returners fumble and not get any, like that would be a game changer, I think, to get one of the top returners in the game.
Well, I'm not sleeping on. I think Isaiah Bond is going to be spectacular.
He might be able to do this. Yeah, I
think if you use Larbadan, how you need to use Larbadan would be spectacular. Also. Well, and these are slot guys, you know. So I think we got plenty of that. Unfortunately, we're going to have another year of Jerry Jeudy. Hopefully, he gets his catches up. I mean, we all need that. Because I don't see any trade value. I don't see no team going, hey man, let me get your Jerry Jeudy for this or that. Nobody's doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're stuck with him for another year.
Them picks to get rid of him.
We're gonna give you number 6 to get Jeudy out of here. We'll start at 24.
He's the Brock Osweiler wide receivers.
You know, and then this draft, this is all speculation. That's all we can do here. We're just talking a bunch of guys talking football. I just wanted to say, you know, it worked last year. Well, who's to say that we don't trade down and get more pieces to this puzzle that we need, which is a very high possibility, you know, to fix this, to rebuild a line. You can set that up if you trade down. But I I just want to get what's the best we have out there for our wants and needs. And I think, you know, you stick with that 6 and 24, get what you need.
Andrew Berry has shown us that he can be trusted, if nothing else.
You know what, though? I'll say this, that last year, Andrew Berry, that was a great draft. That was been his best draft. It's going to be almost
minus we took 2 quarterbacks like that. Everybody forgets about, like, I'm not saying you forgot, Sam, but like, it was a great draft, but we also took quarterbacks.
It was a good draft.
Right. Well,
it was a good draft because you took 2 quarterbacks, one that may not be on the roster, and the other one that you're still having an open competition with, which goes to my wants and needs, right? Is that you are still not committed to that quarterback. a guy who has shown you the signs, a guy that you should be committed to developing, right?
Yeah.
So you
Well,
want
I would say last year's draft saved Andrew Berry. We were already cleaning house. I think if he had a horrible draft, he would have been gone.
so it was a good draft.
It was a good draft, and we haven't had a good draft in a while. It's going to be hard to reproduce what we did last year this year with the rookies. We got lucky. We traded down. We got Graham. Okay, and he's going to turn out to be great. Okay, Carson Schwarzenegger speaks for himself. Defensive rookie of the year. We got Fannin. I mean, that's just three guys. I'm just going to rattle off right there. That's going to be hard to repeat again this year.
Sam, let me tell you
Especially
something.
when you got to rebuild.
If we can't repeat that, then he needs to go. Because successful NFL franchises do that every year, man. That's what the top franchises do.
I hope that we repeat
players.
They draft good players. they hit on their first round draft picks, and then like the places where we hit on our top draft picks this year is where they hit in the 4th and 5th round.
Yeah, if I'm Andrew Berry this year, I drafted down last year. It worked out for me. This year, I'm going straight down the pipe at 6 and 24 because I want that.
That's what you traded down to get those picks, like to get that extra pick in the first round. You know, it's like you did that last year to have these 2 first-round picks. Just use them. Is what I'm. If that's sorry to cut you off, Sam. I was just.
No, you're good. No, you're good. You're good. I just know that we're going to need fresh young blood at this offensive line, and it's going to start here at this draft. So, I mean, do whatever you got to do to make that happen.
Yep.
You know, because I mean, as much as we know we need receivers, it's not going to matter because if the quarterback can't throw the ball out of the pocket, because there's no blocking, because he's just getting eight and alive back there, and there's no protection, then the receiver doesn't matter either. Now, does it? Doesn't.
Or he's got 20 seconds in the pocket. Judy gets open and then drops it. So it's like,
or has a guy just rip it out of his hands. So
he catches it and then someone says no, and then they just take it.
I just want to have a lot more less. If it's Shador or if it's Watson, have to extend plays. I mean, it's great that quarterbacks can do that, but you really don't want that. You don't want to see that often. That means there's a problem at your line. You don't want to see Shador. I don't want to see Shador running backwards 40 yards. That's crazy. I don't want to see that. So let's get this line together, man. So we can.
They can do it, but they shouldn't have to do it every highlight or every good play they have. You had to run backwards.
No, and I knew the line was coming in hurt from last year. So, and I knew there was going to be problems, and it reared its ugly head sooner than later. You know, Joe Flacco wasn't doing good because of this line, or because he's just not doing good. No, it was the line problem. Yeah. If you had a good line, Flacco would have put up better numbers. I firmly believe that. If Pickett would have ended up not getting hurt in training camp, and they put Pickett at 1, and you had a good line, he would have did better.
He has to be able to hold the football, though.
Well, we can get into small hands and all that.
Little tiny hands.
Right. But, the big thing is fixing this line. And I'm going to go over it again. Cam Robinson, Jack Conklin, Joe Bitonio. Wow, Teller's out of here. Joe Bitonio's question marked. Ethan Posick coming off a ruptured Achilles. Luke Whippler, knee injury. DeJuan Jones. Lucky to get 6 games out of him. Always hurt. I put that in my notes. DeJuan Jones / always hurt. Those are guys. I mean, that's a rebuild. You're looking at a rebuild. You need to focus on that for long-term replacements here. So
I'm telling you, keep an eye on Zach Zinter. He was going to be a first-round pick, but he got hurt. Let's see. Again, it might just be because he's a Michigan guy, but
let's just hope we don't get no more Jedrick Wills here. So that's.
You know what would have also been cool that year when we needed the left tackle is if we just drafted the guy out of Iowa that won the award for best left tackle in the league or in college, who was Tristan Wirfs, who is now Baker's left tackle in Tampa and consistently the best left tackle in the league, instead of trying to outsmart everyone and drafting Jedrick. That would have been
I'll say if you free up some cap space, and there's ways to do that. I can go over that real fast. You restructure Watson's contract. You restructure Denzel's contract. You're going to get from last year's season, because of Watson getting hurt, you can get like $3.5 million. Don't quote me. You can get some money there. And just by restructuring Watson and Denzel, I think you get around another 40 mil there. They increased the cap this year, so you're going to get a little extra money there. So you could free agency if you really want to show us that you're trying to get better and rebuild this offensive line. Go out and get you a veteran guy and put money on him. Don't bring in another quarterback and spend money on another veteran quarterback here.
Yeah, man.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear none of that talk. Yeah,
Shedeur, it's the guy you develop, man. And quick clips. I'm saying develop, right? So, they get more than 1 year here. Give me a little bit more credit than that.
Let's just say, damn, Gary, if you were an owner, you would have
players on a quick timer contract. No good 1 year scram. Just David Njoku.
Yeah. You know what? Since we're talking like free agents and people that we need to sign, it's very important. Because we have a lot of guys on this list here that need signed. And some of the top that stand out, obviously Devin Bush. Okay. That stands out to me. Where am I at here? My notes. Okay. Yeah. So Devin Bush, Corey Bojorquez, probably the best punter in the league. We probably might have that. We might have that locked down.
Every 3 plays he's out there.
I hate that the Browns always find the best punter in the league. You know what I mean?
You're gonna need him back. Smits, I think he resurrected himself last year. He had a lot going on too, man. That kicker had a lot going on. He lost his mom for the season she had a brain aneurysm. So he had a lot going on. He missed that field goal in Cincinnati, cost us the game. But he was able to bring himself back out of that darkness, man, and his teammates stood by him. I remember Shedeur when he needed to kick that field goal against who's the team? But Shedeur was on the bench and he's waiting for Smits to kick, waiting for him to kick that field goal to win that game. And he goes, he didn't forget. He knows. They doubted him. They ain't gonna doubt him again. And he came back and he won that game for us. But that's another guy that you need to sign. And another thing, because I talked about us needing some nickel package help, cornerback help too. We're gonna have to draft a guy. Yes, I know we're gonna have to for nickel package. We're gonna need another guy, maybe even a safety, maybe a guy that you can use as a safety and in a nickel package. But Martin Emerson. Yeah. Okay. I think we need to give him. He was playing well until he got hurt. I think you give him a prove it deal. We're going to keep you here. We need to see the proof in the pudding now. We want to make sure you got to give him a little prove it deal. But those are some of the
ACL, top, right? I think it was his ACL that he hurt.
Yeah.
Everton. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we brought in Tyson Campbell. So I see Tyson Campbell starting and Denzel Ward, obviously, the warden out there, and then moving Emerson around maybe even. Because I think Tyson Campbell played too good, and he's better in man coverage than he was doing cover twos and stuff. He's better at man. And I think, you're going to have to, those are some names. So, Devin Bush, Martin Emerson, Corey Bojorquez, Andre Smits. We're going to need them guys. We're going to need them guys back. We're going to need them guys back.
For sure. So I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm smelling bacon from the kitchen here. So the wife's making some breakfast here for us. And, just want to thank everybody for tuning in, man. Thank all of our sponsors. We got Cleveland Ketchup, Bearded Bastards, Barbecue Sauce. Want to thank Marlon out there. If you guys need to go get a cut and look fresh, make sure you are checking out Marlon over at Lego Heads. And then also want to check out our guy over at State Farm.
Doug White
over there at State Farm. Thank you guys all for, listening. And especially, man, I want to shout out to Quick Clips. You are here every week, man, commenting, supporting us. Thank you very much, man. Thank you, everybody, for commenting, supporting, checking us out. We are back. We're back here next Saturday at 10 a.m. We also have the Tuesday show with Chad and Angel and Mike, if he's feeling better, at 7:30. We'll be back next week talking more about what we find out on the, what we see in the combine with quarterbacks and wide receivers and all of that good stuff. And I'm sure there'll be more Browns coverage and more Browns news, because there always is. And until then, man, go Browns and
Go
Free
Browns.
agency coming up March 9th, I believe. So there will be some talk going on there.
all
sooner
right,
than
guys,
later.
let's go. Go Browns.
Go
Later.
Browns.
Woo, 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 woo.
Later.